Hey there! Welcome to Jackie Talks Horror. I'm Jackie, and today I'm going to be taking you through my Nightmare on Elm Street rewatch list, sharing which films make the cut when I do a franchise rewatch, and which ones don't. Freddy is a horror legend for a reason, with his fedora, glove with fingerknives, and his quippy quotes. However, when I'm doing a franchise rewatch binge, I don't watch them all. I'm going to go through the ones I revisit and why, then briefly cover the ones I skip and why they don't work for me. This isn't a ranking or a full review, just my personal rewatch list. By the way, I usually watch the films in chronological order. It's just the way I am, so there's no real surprise in their ordering. And I'll be using trailers and images from these films, so if you haven't watched them, just be warned, spoilers ahead. So first on my watch list is always the original, and is some people's favourite, Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. It has an excellent and really exciting premise, being stalked in your dreams by someone that could kill you for real, and was executed so well by Wes Craven. Freddy's dream world is dark and frightening. Each death is iconic, but Tina and Glenn's death absolutely stand out there on their own. Freddy's at his best, and we are introduced to one of the best final girls ever, with Nancy. The other characters were really great and the acting overall was fabulous, and I really liked the special effects, except for that end scene, but hey. So next up is Nightmare on Elm Street 2 Freddy's Revenge. This one takes a different approach from the first film. It's not as dark and eerie, but the possession angle, with Freddy taking over a body to kill again, was a bold move. Freddy has that sinister edge from the original, and honestly this is one of my favourite looks for him in the entire franchise. He also seems to tear up the rulebook, but with only one movie before it, the rules weren't exactly set in stone yet, so they had room to experiment. The transformations are incredible, the kills are inventive, and that pool party scene, iconic. Freddy never does anything quite like that again in the series. So what keeps me coming back to this one is how daring it is. It doesn't just follow the formula, it plays with it, and I love that. So next up, we have Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors from 1987. Now this one is usually in the running along with the original as people's favourite. I feel Dream Warriors strikes perfect balance between funny Freddy and dark scary Freddy. The new characters are awesome and Nancy is back and kicking ass. And it delivers some of the best kills and iconic Freddy one-liners in the franchise. What really makes it work is they spend time developing the characters, and by the time they gain their dream powers, we understand who they are and why they have them, which makes Freddy's cruelty even sharper as he twists their weaknesses against them. Freddy's dream world is as dark and twisted as in the first movie. The special effects are amazing in this film as well, but I love to rewatch this one to see the Dream Warriors learn from Nancy how to use their powers and grow to make a stand against him. Next on my watch list is Wes Craven's New Nightmare from 1994. A meta and fresh take on the franchise and a great return to scary Freddy. Though whether it's really him or something even darker is up for debate. The film presents Freddy as a demon taking on his form, but with Robert Englund playing the role, that's already a win. Add Wes Craven back in as director, and it's another big win. While the kill count isn't high, some death scenes echo the original and are highly effective. And the dream world is nightmarish as ever. I return to this one as to me it is great fun seeing the original cast play themselves, especially Heather Langenkamp kicking ass under her own name, and Wes Craven as himself. And it is a great conversation starter on horror's impact on the creators and actors. Okay, so next up is always Freddy Vs Jason. Coming at it as a Freddy fan, and it's a great version of Freddy, as with Dream Warriors they seem to have the mix of scary Freddy and funny Freddy right in this. The human characters are not well written, the acting is poor-ish, and the plot is a bit, well, let's just say it's not very coherent. But let's face it, we're not here for the plot or the human characters, we're here for Freddy and Jason. One thing I really like about this is that they managed to blend the two movie styles together quite well. Why I keep coming back to this one is because it just does what it says on the can. Two slasher greats, and when they do get to fighting, it's exactly what you expect. And you have an absolute blast. Okay, so now on to which ones I miss and why. But before I get to them, if you're doing a Nightmare on Elm Street rewatch, do you skip any films? Let me know in the comments below. So, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 The Dream Master from 1988 is probably the best of the ones I skip, but I feel killing off the survivors from Dream Warriors, Kirsten, Joey and Roland so quickly was a mistake, and there are also some really stupid moments in this film. The new characters, especially Alice, are at least interesting, even if they do only have one or two interesting points each that we find out about. The kills are still really good as well, but the good does not outweigh the bad for me. Not enough for me to want to watch this very often anyway. Okay, so another one that I don't watch is Nightmare on Elm Street 5 Dream Child from 1989. Most of the characters are just a kind of replication from the characters from Part 4, and it has pretty bad special effects. Oddly enough though, it does have one of the coolest kills, the motorcycle one. But on the flip side, this film also has Super Freddy, which drags it down. The lovely gothic aesthetic and interesting premise are cancelled out as Freddy gets into too much comedy and slapstick humour. And for me, that makes it a hard watch. Okay, so the next one of the franchise that I don't watch is Nightmare on Elm Street 6 Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare from 1991. If you thought Freddy lent into comedy in the previous two, then this is where he just becomes a parody of himself. Power Glove and Wizard of Oz scenes, anybody? I don't like it when he leans into Funny Freddy too much, so I don't waste time on watching these three just for completion. Okay, and now on to the reboot from 2010. Okay, hear me out. James L. Haley did an awesome job as Freddy. He delivered some chilling nightmare fuel lines, but I just cannot watch it because of the disrespect Rooney Mara gives to Nancy. She really phones it in and it's painful to watch. Also, the special effects are not very good when you think of what they managed to do back in the 1980s with practical effects in the original. So does it mean I am not a real Nightmare on Elm Street fan for missing those when I do a rewatch? Do you think it makes someone less of a franchise fan for only watching some films from it? But I personally don't think so at all. I'd rather deep dive into films I love than slog through the ones I don't enjoy watching. Why force myself through something that doesn't click when I could be rewatching the ones that do? Loving a franchise doesn't mean loving every single entry, and skipping a few doesn't make me any less of a fan. Now, I do appreciate some of the better kills from the ones I don't rewatch, and a lot of them are good characters and acting, like with Alice from 4 and 5. But that isn't enough for me to want to revisit them. Okay, so that's all for this video. Are you a franchise completist, or do you just watch some when you're doing a franchise rewatch? If you only watch some of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, which one do you watch and why? If you watch them all, let me know if you like them all. Do leave your comments down below, but remember to be respectful. And remember, this is only my thoughts and feelings on the franchise. It'd be a boring world if we all like the same things. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more horror content. You won't want to miss what's coming next on this channel. This is Jackie signing off. Take care and see you next time.